Character arcs, themes, plots, I have videos on all of them, diagrams too, but the diagram in this video, it condenses all of that. By the end of this video, you will be a master of writing. You'll understand the hidden trick that all great stories use, and it's really simple. Spoilers for the stories in the description. Here is the story diagram. In Act 1, the main step is start. This is starting the thematic belief that your target character holds. I say target character because it isn't always the protagonist that changes in the story. I'll be saying protagonist moving forward for simplicity. The start belief could be the lie, or it could be the truth. Act 1 shows that the character believes the start through their words and their actions, and may even provide a reason why they believe it. In Ratatouille, Remy believes that anyone can cook because of Gusteau. He's shown risking his life to cook a meal as a rat. In Iron Man 1, Tony Stark believes that he isn't accountable for the atrocities of war despite owning a weapons manufacturing industry. He is shown countering a reporter when pressed and happily displaying his new missiles. In Cars, Lightning believes that he doesn't need friends or teammates to win, and he can stay selfish and arrogant. In Into the Spider-Verse, Miles doesn't believe in himself. This is shown by him intentionally failing in school, and then in Act 2, him failing to jump buildings. An inciting incident happens at the end of Act 1. The catalyst brings your protagonist into the first step of Act 2, the War Zone. The War Zone is where the protagonist faces opposition to their start belief. In Ratatouille, Remy and Linguini face off against people who believe that not everyone can cook, especially a rat. These are Skinner, Ego, and Django. In Iron Man, Tony is injured by one of his weapons and held captive by terrorists who stole his creations. He's forced to confront the negative outcomes of his weapon manufacturing. In Cars, Lightning getting lost in Radiator Springs forces him to selflessly clean up the mess that he made when he wants to selfishly get back to his destination. In Spider-Verse, Miles is put into dangerous Spider-Man situations where he has to slowly get his confidence up to gain competence. The second step of Act 2 is the pivotal event. This is an event in the War Zone that brings your protagonist to their end belief, the third step. In a positive change arc, the start is wrong and the end is right. But in a flat arc, the start and the end are the same. The pivotal event can happen anywhere in Act 2. It can be at the beginning, middle, or end. Regardless of where it happens, the entirety of Act 2 is still in the War Zone. The protagonist will face thematic conflict regardless of whether they are at the start or end belief. In Ratatouille, Remy and Linguini's pivotal moments happen towards the end of Act 2. Remy is freed from Skinner's grasp, and Linguini reveals his secret to the chefs. Their end belief, anyone can cook, is manifested through the rats working together to cook a dish, with the lead rat calling the shots. In Iron Man, the pivotal event is at the start of Act 2, which is Tony doing self-reflections with Yinsen in the cave. His end belief is that he's accountable for his weapons, which is externalized by him creating Iron Man suits to combat terrorists and destroy his weapons. The second half of Tony's War Zone is using his suits for good to make up for his actions. In Cars, all of McQueen's experiences in the new town are his pivotal event, which leads to him becoming more selfless and making friends. He moves to the end belief of accepting selflessness and friendship. For Miles, his pivotal event is being told he's not ready by Peter, followed by his father's emotional speech to him. His end belief is having the confidence to take a leap of faith, which is shown by him jumping off buildings and web swinging, which he couldn't do before. Finally, there is Act 3. The first step is the final boss. This is the antagonist that is the strongest representation of opposition to the protagonist's end belief. The protagonist has a confrontation with the final boss, which leads to the last step, proof. This is the scene that proves the end belief is right, through the protagonist's victory over the antagonist. It is important that the protagonist wins by embracing the end belief. In Ratatouille, Ego is the ultimate opponent because he defeated Gusteau, Remy's mentor, with his philosophy. Remy beats him by using his staff of rats and a human who can only serve. In Iron Man, Stain is the ultimate opponent because he was double-dealing weapons the entire time. However, Tony doesn't beat him by embracing his end belief. In Cars, the final boss is Chick Hicks, and the race in general. Chick Hicks is even more selfish and uses dirty moves. McQueen embraces his friendships when Radiator Springs becomes his crew and uses 2 moves from his friends. After Hicks crashes the King, Lightning embraces selflessness when he chooses to help King rather than win the race. Although he didn't literally win the race, he had the ability to win due to his friends, and he chose not to in favor of the end belief. He won in the hearts of the audience as the best person on the track due to unbelievable sportsmanship. In the end, no one cares that Hicks won, and people praise McQueen. In Spider-Verse, Miles defeating Kingpin is tied to a different thematic idea about having family, not believing in yourself. This formula isn't just for movies. An example of a story arc in a TV show is Naruto's Sasuke recovery arc. Sasuke is the target character. His start was that he could get stronger by staying in the village with his friends, but he was already leaning towards the belief that he needed to move to an enemy village to get stronger. This was before the arc started. He enters the War Zone when he challenges his rival to a fight. Naruto, his rival, represents prioritizing bonds over power. Sasuke's pivotal events are losing to Naruto and losing to a team from the enemy village who promise that he can achieve their power. This leads him to betraying the village, joining the Sound 4, and achieving his end belief: power over bonds. This is at the start of Act 2. His final boss is Naruto, the embodiment of bonds over power. This time, Sasuke wins with his new strength from the Sound Village, proving his end belief right. An example of an episode in an episodic show is Teen Titans. In Only Human, Cyborg's start is that his robot side is a curse that limits the amount of effort that he can exert. This is shown through him failing to lift heavier weights. His inciting incident is meeting Atlas, which puts him in the war zone because Atlas is fully robot and insults Psy's human side. At the end of Act 2, Psy has his pivotal event, which is his pep talk to himself. His end belief is that his human side can allow him to surpass his robot limits. His final boss is Atlas, who he beats by breaking his limits, which is his proof. An example of a multi-season show is Breaking Bad. I can break it down two ways. Version 1 is focused on Walt Breaking Bad. His start is believing that he should obey the laws and live a normal life despite being dissatisfied. His inciting incident is meeting Jesse. Awake, he chooses to use the drug game as a way to gain the power that he feels he deserves. This puts him in the war zone of choosing between drugs and his family. He bounces back and forth and even has a point where he quits the drug business, so he doesn't have one singular pivotal event. His final boss is at the end of Season 5, where he dies due to the drug business. Version 2 is focused on Walt's main character arc. At the start, he's in the drug game and says that he does it for his family. He's already in the war zone with Skylar and their relationship deteriorates. This lasts through all of the seasons. His pivotal event is seeing the Schwartz family on TV at his lowest moment, reminding him of his ego. This is at the end of the entire story's Act 2. His end is accepting that he's done everything for himself because it made him feel good, which he admits to Skylar. His final boss is fighting the gang to save Jesse because he wants to, not because he has to. Wasn't that simple? I believe that the story arc diagram covers all of the most important details regarding plot, characters, and theme all in one formula, and reduces it to a simpler version. It is specific enough to provide helpful guidance, but loose enough to be applicable to a wide array of stories.